You're listening to the Takeover here on Life FM with Lauren, and I am so incredibly excited because right now over Zoom, I am chatting to Allora Dannon. You may have seen her videos online. She has been posting for a little while about her experience in dating and lack thereof experience, actually, and she's titled herself a late bloomer. Hey, Alora, how's it going?
Hi, Lauren. It's going good. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to chat with you. I've been following your content for like 6 to 12 months. And honestly, I really connected, related. I had never heard any vocabulary around this late bloomer title. So maybe for those who have no idea what we're talking about, maybe we could like define what a late bloomer is.
Sure. If you were to Google it for a dictionary response, the usual response is just someone who finds success later in life. So I feel like it's more commonly used around like when you have a glow up, like maybe you were an ugly duckling as a teen and then you glow up, but it applies to anyone like finding a career later in life. And specifically to me, the first time I heard it, it was being talked about it in a romantic setting, like someone who not had any dating experience. And I know people have a love-hate relationship with this term. But I immediately was like, that's me. And I didn't know what to call that. I didn't know that this was a thing. I thought I was the only one. So I
Mm.
I very much appreciated, like you said, just having like the vocabulary around expressing what this was for me, like what this experience was. It's like, that's it.
Yeah, how great that you can finally when you finally find language for the words that you're feeling. And so then you decided to start talking about it publicly and online. And I have a clip from a video that I found of yours quite early on in my following of you. So we're just going to play a clip of that to get the vibe of what you post.
I don't know that enough people realize how distinctly painful it is when you are single, not by choice. When you see everyone around you sort of like organically, effortlessly coupling up, and sometimes with all the effort in the world in your part, you are just not meeting someone who meshes with you, or you're not even being given the opportunity to meet with people to mesh with. Just because you download a dating app doesn't mean you get all this luck all of a sudden, that you have endless matches and interactions lining up at your door.
So you have this dialogue of, articulating these thoughts around being single, what it's like on the dating apps, and all of these things. Like, what made you want to share your experience of being a late bloomer online?
So I'll be so for real with you, Lauren. I specifically chose TikTok. I was using all like I loved Facebook, I loved Instagram at the time, but I specifically chose TikTok because nobody was following me on there. None of my family, none of my friends, but my goal was, okay, if I could just get used to saying this out loud because it was such a like pain point for me. Like I was 30 years old before I ever heard someone say that they were a late bloomer, also on TikTok. It was a light bulb moment, but I was like, this was something I couldn't even talk about with like my best friends, like with my family. Like it was just rooted in so much shame and embarrassment. So my goal was to just make videos where I was saying it out loud because I definitely process things by talking about them. I didn't really expect like anyone to see them. So it was like this really like a big joke of me like I was cracking the door open to like coming out of this like late bloomer closet. Then all of a sudden it was wide open because that first video where I talked about it did go viral. And I was like, "Oh, and amazingly, I don't know how, I found like the kindest corner of the internet because that's not always how it
Mm.
goes." And just people like were so supportive and they were like, oh my gosh, me too. Or, you have nothing to be embarrassed about. And that just like every successive video, I just kept going. They just like it blew up, like each one.
Mm.
And it was a wild surprise. Like it literally is not lost. Like the irony of this was something I couldn't talk about for like 95% of my life because it was so mortifying. And now you can't shut me up. Like I am an unofficial late bloomer advocate spokesperson is it's not lost on me.
Mm. So you started making these videos. Were you surprised by people's responses and comments from these videos? Did it what was your kind of reaction? to
Oh my
realizing that
gosh.
like, this had legs?
I was thrilled and touched because honestly, the dialogue around being like an adult virgin, that was the only thing I had heard, right? Like the virgin
Mm.
jokes or like
Hmm.
40-year-old virgin, like it's so demeaning and there is still such a stigma. So I was expecting ridicule, but and I also wasn't expecting anyone to see it at all. So like when I wandered into such positivity, like people being like, this is like me too. This is a common experience. Like you're lots of people were like, you didn't miss out on like the sloppiness of teenage or young love. And I'm like, listen, you get to say that because you experienced it, but like I would have loved a little sloppiness.
Right?
But it was overwhelmingly like so positive and so rewarding. Like I'd never had an experience where what I was saying, and it was just explaining something that was painful for me, that was resonated with so many other people. Like, and it wasn't just like for me, like someone who had had no dating experience. Like sometimes it was for people who were dating after divorce. Like it resonated with so many people. Like just that common feeling of feeling left behind or like a fish out of water and you don't really know how to acclimate. There's not like dating school. Like, so that it was just a wild experience. It still is, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I have been involved in this community that you have created, but also I've been able to find like other creators that are now talking about it. It's like all of a sudden, out of nowhere, people are okay and feeling welcomed and
Hmm.
accepted, but also like able to put language to it. What is something about being a late bloomer that people often misunderstand?
I think they assume that there must be like some sort of traumatic event that made you avoid dating, or alternatively, that there's something wrong with you, like that you're awkward or shy or you have no charisma. And it couldn't be further from the truth. Like, are those reasons that make dating harder for people? Like, absolutely. Like, that is something that can happen, unfortunately. Like, not everyone has positive experience with romance and dating, but anything can be learned, like social skills can be learned. And so many people, what I have found is when you are not on the receiving end of romantic attention for whatever reason, like I was, you, and especially as a woman, there is still this sort of like societal expectation that you are going to be approached. Like someone's going to find you, right? Like that rom-com meet cute moment. And even though there's in the year of our Lord 2025, there's nothing wrong with initiating. I had this expectation that I was gonna have like a white knight or the prince come and find me, and it wasn't happening. And then I was like, and then you start to internalize what is wrong. And
Mm.
all that happens is you start to think of dating as this stressful thing. Because the unfortunate thing about dating too is no matter how much effort you put into it, there is no guarantee of positive outcome. It is kind of like it's down to like luck and timing, and
Mm.
you can't always control those things. So I feel like so many people, it's not that something's wrong with them or that they're even like actively avoiding dating. It's just if you know you can put your effort into a career or a hobby or sport or traveling or whatever it is that you're passionate about, you're going to get a positive like result from that. But for dating, you can spend hours, days, weeks, years going to matchmakers, going on dating apps, and just sometimes it doesn't work. And there's no way to not take that personally. Like
Yeah, absolutely.
it's hard not to.
Some people just like get in and out of relationships so quickly, and then you're sitting there going like, "Dude, I can't even get a boy to look at me. Like, what's going
Can't get a
on?"
message back. Like what is it? What did I do wrong?
I don't understand. So when people read your book, what are you hoping goes through their minds as they read Who Is She? A Late Bloomer's Survival Guide?
So I definitely wrote this book as a love letter to late bloomers, but to also to anyone who enjoys stories about romance or overcoming a limiting belief. Because at the end of the day, that was the core thing for me was I had this thing that I internalized so much. It was like a scarlet letter. Like I had this, I felt like it was a shameful part of me. And it made me so fearful to be my most authentic self, to be brave enough to keep trying or to take breaks and then try again. And I really wanted people when they read my book to feel validated in their experience or lack thereof. Like there's nothing wrong with you. You can come to any new experience at any time in your life. Like the opportunity only expires when you die. So you have limitless amounts of time to take advantage of that kind of thing. Um, and I wanted people to feel like, okay, even if it's not like a romantic thing, though that for me, that was it. That was like a big pain point for me. I wanted someone to go along this journey with me and feel what it was like to finally shed this shame. And it's not like it was smooth sailing, Lauren. It was awkward. It was like terrifying sometimes. It was messy, but like you can go through a hard thing doing it scared and see what's on the other side. And that kind of like pushing through what holds you back. And sometimes it's you holding you back. You just don't realize it.
Mm.
That was what I wanted people to take away from this. Like I can do, like you don't have to feel brave or ready to do something that scares you. You can just do it scared and see what happens. But it's not too late. Like it's never too late.
I love that. I feel like that's a lesson that we might have forgotten about in this generation. I feel like everyone's a little like nervous to do something that they don't know the end result of, or they're not sure how it's going to go, or, how they're going to feel. Like everyone's a little bit apprehensive, I think. And so it's a great lesson to be either retaught or to be taught for the first time. What is in the book that's not on your TikTok?
Um, I absolutely, this will be funny if if anyone's been following me for a minute, they know that I like to tell steamy, authentic stories, but I am limited by algorithm. So I like to think that I was able to express emotions and feelings more freely. I was able to explain a little bit more of like my history and context, but anyone who's at any point in my journey, this to me was this is the start of me falling in love. It goes through that whole that falling in and out of love with the first person I ever had the chance to love, going through heartbreak and then coming out the other side. And so much of that I sanitized for the internet to protect other people's feelings, to protect myself. And when I came to story form, I was like, I'm the only one who controls this. Like I can control my own narrative here. So there's definitely that unbridled narrative, more context for how that became there. But then I also, similarly to what's on my channel, I wanted people to have like practical like action items. Like so I tried to give tips about things that like for physical intimacy that were intimidating to me or how I started to challenge my own limiting beliefs to just allow myself to dream bigger. So there's definitely elements that are in my from my channel that are there, like those themes are still present in my online content, but they're all instead of going through a chaotic playlist, they're all in this beautiful narrative and it's like a whole a whole story. I wanted it to be like just on hand. This little book for you to have on hand. It's like a little, it was kind of how I, like, this is how I survived. Like, it was my survival guide. So I'm sharing it.
I love that. And I think that's where the most honest stories come from, is when it's like something that you needed when you were younger, right?
Yes. Like, this is what I wish I had when I was
Mm,
struggling with this. This is what I learned. So I'm not a dating expert. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a matchmaker, but this is what I learned really recently. I wanted to share it.
That's absolutely wonderful. Now, I have a really random question that might seem kind of out of the blue, but I thought it would be a little bit fun to throw at you. If your love life had a movie soundtrack, what would you play in the ending credits?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so um My Girl by the Temptations. I'm
Oh,
pretty sure
yeah.
it's by the Temptations. It for so long I was only like I was the only one in possession of me. And I feel like when you're someone like so many people are happily single, but if you're someone who's ever dreamed of like having a family or just having a partner, you don't belong to anyone, right? Until you find that moment and going through that first relationship and experiencing what it felt like to be partners with someone, but then the book also goes into me meeting my now partner, love of my life. And that's a song he will sing to me sometimes. And it's just resonated with me like that I belonging to someone can feel like such an like an old thought. Like obviously you're in possession of yourself, but just like when you belong together with someone, I feel like that thought, that's what that song always reminds me of.
That is so beautiful. I love that. And also not just like the fact that you are, their girl, but it's also the sentence of saying, that's my girl.
Yeah.
Like that in itself is also something that
Yeah.
I heard someone say it recently about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift and how he loves her out loud. And I was like, man,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
need a man to love me out loud,
Absolutely. Like there is something, it is the most neon green flag that there is when someone that loves you, who says they love you, who d does it in a bigger way. And I don't mean like grand romantic gestures, like just someone who's proud of you, who supports you, who's not threatened by your successes. It's not like a competition. Like it's something that shouldn't be rare in a partner, but and I'm speaking as from a heteronormative, I can't even say it, I can't even say it, straight girl experience. I always get stuck on certain words.
That's
Um, but men, we love this from you. Like,
yeah. Amen. Preach it.
mhm.
So for those of our listeners who are listening and are really interested in you, your content, maybe even purchasing your book, where shall we send them?
Good old Amazon has the book available for pre-order now, the ebook, and then the paperback will be available on publication day, so October 7th. So ebook available now, October 7th for paperback for the people who still
That
love to
is
feel paper under their fingers.
I definitely am one of those people. I'm so
Same,
excited
same.
for you and your book to come out. I think this is a much needed piece of content, and I think a lot of people will be very blessed by the words that you have written. So, thank you so much for spending some time with me here on the Takeover. Thank you, Alora.
Thank you for having me, Lauren. It's been lovely.
You're listening to the Takeover here on Life FM.